Hello, and welcome to another day of TA the Degen way. Well, it's been a little bit since we've taken a look at the Bitcoin price, and if you check out our last video from a couple weeks ago, we were looking for the move up for the potential lower high. And tonight I just want to take a look at the big picture. I do see some things I find a little bit concerning. Here we are on our TradingView Ideas page, and I got this chart from last year, June sometime, I think June 15th, where we were looking for, a top or a major pause and reaccumulation right at about this time period. I don't find it very surprising that we have paused here, as this has been a pretty consistent running cycle. Why it's respected, I'm not really sure. Now, does that mean that we're not going to press on to higher prices? No. We certainly could. What I want to do is I just want to take a new updated view here on just where we're at. You can see I've got this semi-updated version here with some different things I'm looking at, and that's kind of what I want to take a look at, and just zoom out and let's take a look at the big picture. And what should we be expecting? Should we be expecting some more upside? Should we be expecting a bigger pullback like what I've got kind of marked out here? It's a hard question, and really what it comes down to is we've been watching. If we come down to the daily here, and we'll zoom back out here to this in just a second. In our Discord group, what I talked about a couple weeks ago, and if you're not a member of the Discord, there's a link in the description. It's totally free. Where, whatever I'm looking at, whatever I'm trading, I post in there along with some others. And what we were looking for down here is we were looking at this curved price action. We were expecting price to come up here and potentially put in a lower high, and then we'll see what happens on the pullback. Are we going to get a pullback, or are we genuinely putting in a lower high? So if we're looking at this move here, now we've come up to our target price for our lower high. And that thus far, that's exactly what we got. We did not. We don't need to mark it. We did not break this high here. We have a high price of 71,980, and over here we have 72,777. So we have not broken our uptrend yet. So there's still decent chance that this could hold and we could break this high, and really that's kind of what we need to expect any serious continuation. There's no point in marking that or else a pullback to a reasonable level, like the 1/3 to 50% mark, and then continue on to break that high there. But if we don't, this could be our top here at about 74,000, just shy of 75K. I would like to see higher prices, which is why I want to just take a look at the bigger picture zoomed out here. And let's go back to what we were looking at initially, which is the monthly. What do we have going on our monthly chart? Well, our original chart we looked at here, this time cycle comes from taking this trend right here and the amount of time it takes to go from this high and not to the swing low, but to the break of trend. And that is the cycle. And then when we press the play button, that is kind of about where we topped out. We go back here, here's our trend, here's swing low over here, which is not what we're measuring. We're measuring the break of trend. Here we got a breakout. At 50% of the way, we got a top, and at 3 repetitions, we have our, you know, our high, or the end of our trend altogether, and then we made a downtrend. And so now here, I mean, what I did last June is just repeat the same time cycle. You know, you can see here you had 67 weeks, 67, and then 69. I mean, pretty close. Here you had 62-week downtrend, 62 weeks of sideways accumulation. Well, we pretty much just had all uptrend, you know. So, I mean, what should we expect here? I mean, you know, when we come back to this newer chart that I'm looking at here, and here we're on the monthly. I mean, look at our momentum indicator. We've got, just a day or two left of this month, you know, and this will probably close in the red. I mean, our VWAP here, I mean, we're essentially at the 0 line. That could work its way back, you know, could, you know, bounce off here. But, I mean, you know, we're kind of in some dangerous territory. Our RSI here is way up in the red on the monthly. Money flow is starting to kind of break and come to the downside. And, I mean, if we look at our momentum oscillator, you know, high, lower high, lower high, higher high, higher high, higher high. And if you look at the greater trend, I mean, it's a little hard to argue that this thing does not have that nice curvature to it, you know, where it flattens out and time and price are square, and you get, you know, long drawn out accumulation or massive reversals. You know, I mean, I would like to take the long drawn out accumulation over a massive reversal, but we can't ignore the fact that, you know, momentum has slowed significantly right where it should at a major top, you know, major level of interest. And if we look back previously here, you know, we pinched off on our momentum. What did we see? You know, a massive downtrend, you know, 85%. Here, what do we see? You know, one of these, what I'm calling a monthly true range, which is about a 50 to 60% drop. Here we pinch off. What do we see? A 50 to 60% drop. And now this range that I've got repeating here, I mean, that's just kind of an average repeating range, you know, where you can see a significant reversal, you know, high to low. Here we have this high to this low to this kind of pause right here, this pullback, this low to this high, you know, I mean, just 50, 60%. You know, here we can take it right here. Going upward, that's 200%. That's the wrong direction. We don't want to do that. Here, let's just measure right here. 55%. Yeah, so 50 to 60%, you know. I mean, that's an average range that we see on this chart. We haven't seen one for quite a while. I mean, look at the cluster. You know, now we got nothing. So if we take this average range, I'll explain what I got going on here. You know, previously this produced, you know, 50, 60% drop, 50, 60% drop. Let's see, you know, here we did get a pinch off, and, you know, it was a reversal. We pulled back to that 0 line and bounced off of it. But, I mean, now this time we're way up here. We're not way down here. I mean, that's a little different. You know, like right here. Look at right here, where we came up above, you know, and we bounced off that 0 line, and then boom. Bounced off that 0 line, boom. I mean, the time cycle measures, you know, it lines up. It just does. And here we've what do I got going on here with this shape here? We don't need this on there. This is one of these ways that I just measure this stuff. I'm not going to explain why. If you want to learn that kind of stuff, I mean, come into our Discord and ask me. But here we've got a nice momentum curve. Let's come down to the weekly. Well, first let's look at these monthly candles. So here, this monthly low was 59,224. This monthly low was 59,040. You know. So, I mean, if we were to consider a monthly downtrend, we would expect to put in a lower high and a lower low. We have not put in a lower low as far as I know. 56,500. Oh, we have definitely put in a lower low. What am I talking about? Of course we have. Yeah, so we've put in a lower high and lower low. You know. Here we've got 73,835 for a high. Yeah, so here we put in a lower high, lower low. Lower high, lower low. You know, I mean, we are technically in a monthly downtrend. Our momentum is clipping. And, you know, these time cycles I come up with, they're just measuring this momentum. I'm just drawing it out. And here, now let's go down to the weekly. You can see that momentum curve a lot better. I mean, this wave trend indicator is really just a smoothed out version of moving averages, you know, just showing you that rate of change in the price. You can see it. I mean, I've got this curve drawn here, just following the lows, and then here you can see it come down, follow to the upside, and you would expect a top somewhere right in here, you know. I mean, we got room for one more. I mean, I'm not saying we can't come up here, you know. Why not? But, man, if we put in a lower high here, start working our way down, you know, I mean, it's bound to happen eventually. Doesn't mean we can't push higher. And what do we usually see here? We see these 50 to 60% ranges. You can see it a lot better on the weekly here. You know, here's this low to this high. So let's grab one of these. Just copy and paste it. Let's say this is our current high. You know, I mean, that brings us down to the 50% mark if we look at our retrace here. So if we go from our bear market low to our top at about 75K or so there, 50% of the way, measures up with our average monthly true range, coming out at about, you know, 33K, which is our major support resistance flip right there. I mean, I don't know that we need to pull back all that way, but maybe we do, you know. So I mean, what I got going on here, I mean, here's our low. You can see the momentum curve. We've already broken out of it. Now we're coming up for the retest. Here I'm drawing spider lines. I do have a video on how I draw these. I set this upper limit here following this first set of highs. I adjust my ratio to set it at an increment of 15 degrees, and then working my way down. Let's see, I started this at 60 degrees, so if we start that at 60, we have 45, 30, 31, close enough, 15. You know, and this gives me equal increments in time, measuring what is essentially a standard distribution bell curve model. You know, here's your momentum curve coming up. Here's the apex of momentum. So now we would expect a pullback. I mean, what kind of a pullback should we expect? A bullish pullback would be, you know, about a third of the way, or 50% of the way, which matches up very nice with our time schedule. Matches up very nice with our average repeating monthly true range of 50-60% that we've been running now for since, you know, I mean, this is 2017. I mean, is that long enough? I bet if we were to come on back here, I mean, we probably got the same thing. We'll just grab one of these. Not quite. we? Right there we do. But it doesn't matter. I mean, who cares? So, I mean, here I'm looking at the standard distribution model, you know, so I don't think we're going to come all the way back down here, but I mean, you know, we should be looking for a pullback. And this is the kind of time period that we would be looking at. These 15-degree marks would be giving us price levels and points of, you know, support. Measuring this rate of change is what these spider lines are essentially doing, following the standard distribution model. I mean, is this going to be the support coming down, a trend line coming down? No, I wouldn't imagine so, but I would expect to pull back somewhere in here. You know, to this 50% mark, maybe even just a smidge lower. Maybe come down, hit the spider line. We got the support resistance flip right there. Let's I'm gonna go ahead and hit the delete button. Let's look at a couple other things. So I mean, here we've broken above our high. We've came back below. We've pushed back up to it. We're on the weekly here, and we've retested it. And, you know, now the question is did we just put in a lower high? You know, so our weekly low is coming out at our previous weekly low is 66.50, we'll say. I mean, a break of that's gonna be pretty bearish. You know, that would be pretty bearish. But all we've got so far is lower highs, lower lows, and retesting the bottom side of our all-time high. We're pretty much sitting at it right there. So we just got to see what happens here. You know, just got to see what happens here. What else gives us this area down here is the area we were looking at on our model there before I hit the delete button. Let's grab our Gann box here. We'll start right there. Now I want to take the time factor, and we're going to set this right here at this first. Here's the first wave in this cycle, right there. And then look at where this one ended. Look at where this one ended, and then now here is where our entire cycle we would expect to end. You know, boom, boom. You know, hopefully something like this. Following that Gann box, you know, also giving us, you know, the same kind of general area. Let's just say 44 to 32,000. You know, I mean, I know it's a large area, but it's also about 50% of the price that it's at right now. You know, I mean, why not? Over and over and over again. I mean, does that mean that is what we are looking at for sure? No. I mean, we could truck on a little bit with that monthly clipping off like that. I mean, look at this weekly. We got a green dot here. Look at your VWAP coming up. But what do you see in it? You know, it's starting to curl over already. Look at this weekly money flow. Trending downward. If we look at here, you know, we came up with this being a potential high. You know, I mean, I draw these curves in the price action. All these waves are just a prettier version of the price action. You know, so we're expecting a high there. So now let's take this one. You know, we should be expecting that right about there, like we were looking at before. I mean, you know, I mean, this could just keep ranging on here and do something like this. You know, where we don't really see. I mean, our next time cycle is June, like June 20th, you know, June 17th to the, you know, just the middle of June to the end of June. And then our next major cycle point would be around December or so. I mean, this is just a roughed out, silly drawing. I don't really mean nothing, but I mean, if we pull let's pull our main trend line, you know, I mean, this is what would scare the you-know-what out of many folks. Be a break of these major trend lines. So here's one. Here's our next one. You know, I mean, we haven't even broken trend. You know. So let's say we come on down and we do break trend and retest it, you know. And we're looking at June. It, you know, we break this trend and then come on down to, oh, you know, here's this trend. Maybe we don't actually break this trend. I would beg to differ and possibly see lower. Let's grab our volume profile tool once. Right here. Let's look at a Gann fan, just the standard version once. Let's say this is our high. Well, imagine that. It gives us the exact same relationship as our trend line, which I don't find surprising. I like this 3-to-1 better, because I just see price probably wanting to retrace farther than that. You know, and what are we looking at here? We're looking at multiple ways of coming up with different price levels. Let's look at our volume profile. Let's see. I hear one of my mini drama queen girls in the background, so I'm sure you do too. Let's see. Fixed range volume profile. Let me open the Wu Manchu again. Alright, so here's our value area high, coming out at 42,500, and at our main trend line, you know, I mean, there's a pretty significant level right there. You know, maybe we get something that looks like this. Come on down to, well, you can't go backwards, that don't work, but you know what I'm talking about. You know, come down to this trend line, this value area high, and maybe, you know, we do come on up. I'm still looking at this area, but I would be satisfied with you know, this area right here and this area right here. So I mean, these are the big levels for me: 33, 34,000, and 43 to 44,000. Let's oh, we don't need to hit the delete button. We'll just remove a little bit of that. Another thing I want to do is I want to grab this fib tool here. Start at the top. Let's take a look just at this one swing here. You know, if we only consider, so let's say that we've got, here's a 1-wave move, here's a 2-wave move, here's a 3-wave move, and then a pullback. So I mean, if we take our whole run, this, I mean, if we were to flip this over, this would be our 382. That would be a bullish pullback, you know. At, you know, this 41 to 45,000 kind of dollar area. Come down to this value area high and hold it and hold this main trend line. You know, I mean, if we come down to this trend line, get a nice bullish bar, the daily will probably be looking pretty nice down there. Let's hop on down to the daily. Yeah, I mean, you can see, I mean, look at how fast this cycled here. Came down, came up, you know, and here's where you would expect a high. You can see it in the price action. And that's the exact reason in the Discord group that we were looking for this move up, this curvature in the price action. Here's where you would expect that to be culminating right there, you know, to, yeah, there ain't nothing else to really see on here, but I mean, you know, I would like to see something like this. Come on down to this main trend line, and then I have a reason to be bullish on Bitcoin again. You know, this would be even better, you know, but I'm seeing a lot of confluence there for that value area high there. Yeah, I mean, it's the 382 for, you know, that's a sufficient pullback. Let's say that we consider even this just a one wave move. This here, a two wave move. You know, this would be a 50% pullback if we adjust our... And you don't even need to think about this as Fibonacci anything. This is a retracement, a percentage of value. This is 38%. I mean, this is essentially equivalent to 1/3, you know, to 2/3 and 3/3, and then you get your 50% mark in between. You know, here it's the same thing. You know, if we take this low to this high, our 50% mark is our, see how proportional that is? Just perfect geometric proportionality. So I mean, those are the levels I'm looking at on Bitcoin. That's what I'm looking at. I mean, if we let's come down and look at our local price action, because I mean, for this to be valid, you know, we don't want to put in a higher high. We want it to be a lower high. And is that what we're seeing? You know, here's our push up. Here's our high. We failed to break the high. And, you know, here's a lower high. I mean, if we put in a lower low here, man, you know, I mean, look at this price action right here. Where should we expect this downward move to culminate? You know, time-wise, we're looking about right there. So we're looking at 16, so there's June 1st. You know, and that's if we keep doing this. You know, and then we'd be looking to break that trend. That, if we take the reverse, the bullish side of that, you know, here is your bullish momentum building. That's a sad curve. Also, you know, getting into June. So, I mean, that's what I'm looking at on Bitcoin. You know, I'm not super confident that we are going to see a higher high here. You know, let's look at these. Let's look at the 4 hour. I mean, let's look at just the immediate short term here. And let's say that, you know, here's our high right there. Here's our last unbroken high right there. See how we got just a nice series of lower highs. Here's this high, here's this low. Lower high, lower low. Oh, down here. Lower high, you know. Let's look at what we got going on here. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we just need to pay attention to what's going on right here, you know, and we're getting some indecision consolidation. You know, we're getting this wedge. You know, you can follow whatever way the wedge breaks. In all seriousness, I wouldn't be surprised to see something like this. But, you know, I mean, that's all I got. I mean, we're looking at the 4 hour. Let's look at our wave trend here. You know, you should be expecting a low somewhere right about here, which is kind of about what you got. Here you can follow the curvature of these waves. You were looking for a high here. Follow the curvature of these waves, looking for a low here. You know, that's what you're getting, you know. Now look how fast this is cycling. Where should you be expecting a high? Right here. You know, locally. I'll be long in the Bitcoin. 69,000 or so. You know, I mean, why not? You know, we're getting this nice wedge. I get the fake out, break down. $43,000. But, you know, if you like this kind of content, until next time, trade well. You know, hit the like button, share, subscribe, support us. We just want to be a help to you. Join our free Discord. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to help you. Until next time, trade well.